stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will. Just a reminder to turn on your microphones and silence your cell phones. Our first order of business is going to be swearing in our new counselor, Chad White. Loranda will swear you in.
I, Chad White, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution, the law of the United States, and of the state of Colorado, the municipal court code, and the ordinance of the city of Brush, and that I will faithfully perform all the duties pertaining to the office of Council Ward 2 to the best of my ability.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Welcome, Chad. There's a little button to turn on your microphone. Thank you. I know, yeah, we have a lot of missing counselors tonight, so I'm glad you're here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a quorum, so.
Quorum for the skin of our teeth.
Yep, really. So we'll start with roll call.
Mayor Sherman?
Here.
Councilor Burrell? Councilor Quinn-Cameron? Councilor Lundstrom?
Here.
Councilor Stradling? Councilor Tyree?
Here.
Councilor White?
Here.
Approval of the agenda for our meeting tonight, September 12th, 2022. I'm going to make one correction, not a correction. We're just going to item 11, our executive section. We're going to postpone to another time. Next meeting. When we have all our counselors and not something fun waiting for us afterwards. So, so
I'm going to approve the agenda of regular meeting on September 12th, 2022, minus the
executive session.
executive session.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Lundstrom?
Yep. Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Tyree?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Approval of minutes for our regular meeting of August 22nd, 2022. Everybody's had a chance to look those over. Do we have any corrections or revisions? Otherwise, I'd look for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the meetings of the regular meeting of August 22nd, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Tyree?
Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Next, we have visitors and delegations this is our citizen comments period. Citizens are invited to speak to council on any item that does not have a public hearing scheduled. There's a 5-minute time limit per person, unless otherwise noted by the mayor, and please use your time wisely as you only get one opportunity. This is the only chance in the meeting to address council unless otherwise invited. Is there anyone here for public comment tonight? Yep. Okay. So we will start with management items. First off, we have a new officer swearing in. Chief Boss will lead this ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor. Once again, no offense, but I'm going to turn around and talk this way. So, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we're swearing in our newest officer, Jared Higgins. I used to tell people that there was 3 elements to a swearing-in ceremony. Recently I was corrected and told that there's actually 4. So I'll cover all that here in just a second. The first element is the oath of office. It is to uphold the Constitution of the United States, to enforce the laws of the state of Colorado, but most importantly, it illustrates a personal commitment between Officer Higgins and the citizens and community of Brush. The second is the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics, also known as the Law Enforcement Oath of Honor. This sets the tone for how we conduct ourselves as individual officers. The third is the pinning on of the officer's badge. Pinning on of the badge is symbolic of the officer's allegiance to the city of Brush and the commitment to protect and defend his personal integrity, his personal ethics, and his personal moral compass. The fourth element is the celebration afterwards. This is a welcoming from the community to Officer Higgins, as well as a welcoming from your fellow officers and city council to this community and city of Brush. Law enforcement is full of dilemmas and paradoxes. Not a day goes by where those who wear the badge are not confronted with ethical quandaries, moral contradictions, and temptations for compromise. These tests have no clear-cut, no black and white answer that you must do. There are many options, and there is always a time limit. The oaths you take today will be your lighthouse to guide you as you face these dilemmas and as you decide what to do. They set the stage for who you will become as an officer and light the path for how you will get there. They will define you as a police officer. Police work is about service. We do not take an oath to serve ourselves, but rather the focus is on service to others. We do not uphold our own laws, but the laws established by the very people that we serve and protect. This distinction is profound because it separates the dictator from the servant, and we are servants. Your oath of office trumps all other promises and commitments because of the principle of public trust. Respect the citizens and they will respect you. Earn their trust, for without it you will fail. Fear them, for they will hold you accountable to the covenant you have made with them. Never forget that today you take your oath publicly before God, before your country, before the citizens present here and the citizens of Brush and your fellow officers. Honor each of these entities by faithfully upholding your personal commitment to service, integrity, and justice. Officer Higgins, if you could come up here, please. The oaths will be administered by... How do you do that? They'll be administered by City Clerk Miranda Pack.
Okay, we'll start with the oath of office, and actually, I'm going to have you read this. It's a lot easier than me trying to repeat what I say. Okay? So I will have you actually, one of us to stand so you can take this aside. This way it's easier. Sorry, guys. It's easier for pictures and for his family to see.
I, Jared Higgins, do swear by the ever-loving God that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Colorado and the laws of the State of Colorado, and I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of a police officer upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against abuse or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all who will behave in manners that does not bring discredit to me or my agency. I will maintain courageous, calm, and in the face of danger, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed, both in my personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the law and the regulations of my department. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, personal beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships influence my decisions. I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or abuse, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of faith, of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating my life before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement.
Welcome.
And Officer Higgins is having his father pin on his badge.
Thank you. I always get choked up with the pinning of the badge thing, especially when it's the family members. It just gets me every time. Okay, next up we have, and welcome Officer Higgins. We'll continue to welcome you throughout the night. Our 2023 priorities approval, we'll have Monty Torres.
Okay, in your packets this evening, there's a list of the city council priorities for 2023. It says 2023, but it actually goes even further out because some of these are multi-year priorities for the community. These priorities, they were first reviewed by city staff, department heads. They came up with recommendations. It was also looked at by the city administrator and then also the city council in a priority setting meeting. They went over this and they made a few tweaks to it, adjustments to it, and we're bringing it here this evening to have it approved officially by the city council. And once that's done, we will start moving forward more aggressively with our budget for the upcoming year to reflect these items.
Very good. And we've all had a chance to look at it. It should look like what we kind of asked for it to look like on the other night. So I'd look for a motion.
I move we approve the 2023 priority.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Tyree?
Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Next up, we have Joanne Gosling for the CVT renewal.
In your packet this evening, you had a memo from me through Monty. Back on August 23rd, Frank Ehrman from Colorado Employers Benefit Trust was here. That's who supplies our health insurance, and that's a pooled health insurance for numerous local government entities in the state of Colorado. We actually had good news this year. The increase for health insurance for next year will be 4.5%. That increase equates to an employee's health insurance. So for us to pay for an employee, it'll be increased by $36 a month. And then the family plan will be increased by $87 a month. At the same time, Frank also advised us that we will be getting a dividend again this year. About every other year we receive one. And so we'll be receiving one again this year, and it's between $500 and $600 per employee, depending on how the pool ends up, that we'll be receiving back. And so in February, we'll receive approximately $27,000 back in a dividend from the Colorado Employers Benefit Trust. And that equals just about a little more than half of what this increase is going to be. So the net is very, very good. And with that, at this time, staff's requesting approval for Monty to sign the paperwork so we can get it back to CEBT and get our employees enrolled for next year.
So does that $27,000 go towards that $36 and $87, or is that after?
No, it's after. They'll
Okay.
increase our bill, and then we'll get a net check. And then based on the number of employees in each department, in the general fund and the enterprise funds, then I'll distribute it amongst the 5 funds. Or the 6 funds, I guess I should say.
Does anybody have any questions? I would look for a motion on that one.
I move we approve the CBT health insurance quote.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Councilor Tyree?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. All right, next up we have Monty Torres with the rural fire district grant or assistance.
Okay, so back on August 23rd, the City Council and the Rural Fire Protection District Board had a joint meeting. The joint meeting was one of the better meetings we've had in a long time. It was very productive. We're pretty excited about the direction things are going with the volunteer firefighters, both as city volunteer firefighters as well as in the rural district or out in the county, what they're doing. So we're pretty excited about it. A couple items that we discussed was the first one being the sale of the 910 engine. That unit 910 was one of the engines that was quite old. It was at a point of being out of service, so we opted to sell it. And when we sold it for $30,000. And years ago, that was a joint purchase between the Rural Board and the City of Brush. So one of the recommendations that came up was, could we use that funding from the sale of that vehicle to make some improvements to the fire hall, specifically the memorial project on the north side of the building is what they want to do. There's also some improvements to the fire department kitchen. And then lastly, there's some improvements to a back room area that they'd like to in the future turn into some bedrooms for the fire department. So I'll agree to at that point, but we explained it had to come to the city council, and then also the rural board had to take it back to their official meeting for a decision. But we agreed that we would bring it to the city council for approval for that $30,000, both our part of it and the rural districts, that going to funding those projects. The main focus was going to be the memorial and the kitchen area, and then if there's any additional funds left after that, that would go to the back room area that they'd like to make improvements to. The City of Brush, those that attended all felt that we would put all of our share towards those. The one thing to note is the Rural Fire Board still has to make their approval on this, and in regards to anything that goes beyond $30,000, we agreed that we would split it 50-50 with the Rural Fire District, the Rural Fire Board. They still need to consider that. So that part of it's not locked in yet, but everything else we agreed upon. So that's one of the things that we need an approval for this evening. The second is the volunteer firefighters are requesting a pickup truck and an enclosed trailer. Most of that is for first responding to any type of situation where they can take a lot of equipment inside that enclosed trailer, but also the pickup truck if they chose to go out on a deployment. Deployment means they're going out of the area to help with a larger fire when mutual aid is called, that they could take either the truck by itself or the truck and trailer if needed. And what we discussed was the city would put in $40,000 towards a future grass fire truck that they're going to be looking at doing a grant on, but in exchange they would do $40,000 towards this pickup and trailer. And so again, we want our approvals so that they're comfortable to go, and then they still have to make their decisions at their next board meeting. So staff was comfortable with this, the council members that were present were comfortable with this, but we have to bring it here for official approval by city council.
But if they decide not to go along with it, we just go back and...
Then we don't have to do it. Well, on the top part, we already kind of agreed upon the direction, the first thing with regards to remodeling and the memorial. It's really the second part that was still, they need to think about it a little bit more.
That's great. That's such a great idea you have. It really is. Thank you for doing it.
Well, hopefully that'll be a good incentive to be moving. I had somebody come to me asking about the memorial. She bought a brick for her husband. Out of something that they really do. So that was a motion on this.
Bless you. I move we approve the Brush Rural Fire District grant.
Second. Jinx.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes. I'm hard to Okay, our next item is visa administration.
Tyler can see each one, updates with his correct name on it. And just do various little things. Well, these is constantly a group that changes. You never know what's gonna come about with the potential for the change. They are now requesting that I give them a copy of the minutes because of approval of asking the council to approve a principal contact for Visa, which I would like to have Monty be that principal contact. And then also myself so that I can make changes to the cards. Right now, they're not gonna allow us to make any changes to any cards until, we get this documentation there. So at this time, I'm asking council to approve Monty as a principal contact on the Visa account and myself as a contact to make necessary changes to the cards as people come in.
That motion, would you care to call
I
that?
would make a motion that Monty Torres and Joanne Gosling be appointed as principal contacts for Visa.
I think we need Monty to be the principal contact and
Is it both?
Joanne to be able to make changes.
Okay, so Monty, make a motion that Monty be appointed as the principal contact and Joanne as a contact for Visa.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Rosen?
Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes.
Councilor Cody?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. That motion passes. All right, East Morgan County Hospital Incentive Request by Tyler.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. Thank you for the approval on the last one. My last name, by the way, is spelled Purrs on the card, so they can fix that. All right, so the request before you tonight comes from East Morgan County Hospital. Earlier this year, they submitted plans for a expansion and renovation of their emergency room department, which includes dedicated public entrance, enhanced privacy and workflow, and behavioral health room by the nurse station. And so they're eager to get moving on that. And through the process, we've already gone through the plan review fee, and they have got their building permit issued. But they are requesting a 50% reduction of the building permit fee. Historically, City Council has approved such requests from nonprofits. We have a list going back from 2009 that includes at least 19 different requests that have come in from the hospital, from the library district, from the county, from the chamber, where these types of requests have come before council and been approved. But the formal process has been getting approval from council for those permit requests. So right now, as the permit sits, this includes all the plan review fees and everything, is $24,000, but just the building permit fee is roughly $5,400. And so they're asking for a 50% reduction there, which would bring it to roughly $2,700. So bringing this before council to see if council will be okay with moving forward with that. And we would actually be reimbursing them for that cost.
So they've already paid it.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to waive a 50% of the building permit fee for East Morgan County Hospital.
Okay.
Any discussion? Very good. Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Motion passes. I'm excited to see what they do. It's a really cool project. All right, next up we have finance.
Move we approve disbursements and payroll for August 23rd, 2022 through September 12th, 2022, totaling $450,246.53.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Staff reports, sorry, Tyler, for this.
All right, thank you again. Just two events, or two announcements tonight. One, just to get a reminder, also just fairly frequently on some level, is just to our community overall, any building permits do need to get permitted. Usually before a project starts is preferable. That way we can ensure everything is done according to the code that City Council and community has adopted. And I say this only because either out of ignorance sometimes on certain types of permits, someone might think a fence can just go up no problem without needing a permit, or sometimes people don't want to have to go through the process. But either way, we are responsible for ensuring we have consistent development across the board and everybody is indeed going through that process. So remind your neighbors, remind your family member, and remind yourself if you're reluctant to do so at times. The second one is that there's two big events coming up in Brush. The first one, of course, Oktoberfest on October 8th. Annual event. It's moving back to downtown this year. So all the vendors and events will be happening. They'll be happening Saturday and I believe Sunday as well, now that I think about it. I don't know if everybody can confirm on that. But the 8th for certain. But look out for community communications on that. An exciting day for the community. And then the following Saturday on the 15th, we're doing the second annual Heritage Day Festival at the J.C. Building / Memorial Park and Museum. That's just to celebrate basically Brush's birthday. And so that'll be happening on the heels of the Prasher Dasher 5K run walk going on that morning. So everybody can keep an eye out for those events on those 2 weekends.
Very
Thank you.
good.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Tyler. Derek Foss, Chief of Police.
Just once again, want to say welcome to Officer Higgins, and I have nothing else tonight, so happy to answer questions. Even better.
We'll let you off easy tonight.
Thank you much.
Who do we have here? Dale Colrick, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Believe me at your own risk. Just one major announcement. This week we're wrapping up our street improvement projects, most notably on Sample Street, as well as East Neural and hopefully the alley. The only hiccup we've had so far is that the milling machine broke down earlier this afternoon, so we're behind a little bit, but we still have a couple of days that we can make that up. So hopefully we'll get that going and get a couple new streets, and I appreciate the public's patience while I do this. So. And I believe that's it, unless you have something for me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Joanne Gosling, Finance Director.
I have one item this evening. The Martin County Assessor by August 25th is always required to send us our assessed values. And I did receive those, and our assessed values went down $5,152,000, which was pretty significant considering the market out there. So I did contact them to find out, and this really wasn't a surprise to me. Our state assessed rate has been 0.0715. That rate for residential went down to 0.0695, and multifamily went down to 0.068. So that is what's caused that assessed value to go down so much. Commercial still stays the same. It's at 29%. And then what this equates to in revenue loss is roughly $49,072 is what we'll be losing.
Thank you, Joanne. Miranda Packard, City Clerk.
Just have a couple things. Last meeting, the audio failed, and so the school district, who now helps us with the audio-visual, we have a contract with them. They got us on some new software that should resolve that, and we have some that software. So if anybody goes out to our YouTube channel, we're going to have about 4 little snippets of video that just isn't straight. And also another thing we have to do is that we went back to live last meeting. I'm not sure how it's going to work, so we didn't make an announcement, but we are live tonight as well. And then the last thing is I emailed you all this evening about the Pittsburgh County Hospital Fall event on October 1st. Just as a reminder, please RSVP and invite friends to it.
Very good. Thank you. Dan Cobb, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say welcome, Counselor White and Officer Higgins. You guys feel free to reach out to me if I can help at all. I don't have anything tonight, but
Good knowing you're there.
A few items. First one is one special thank you to Miranda. She put together the district meeting. one of the most well-attended meetings that we have seen in a long time, and so that was very positive. It was held at the course, golf course. And also a special thanks to Larry. Larry put on the entertainment that evening, and
Dale put on the entertainment.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. So Larry Ed put on some great entertainment, and I think the comments that we heard afterwards, it was the best entertainment they've seen in a long, long time. And so thank you for doing that. It really, we represented Brush very well, I think. Next item is recreation. Lance isn't here tonight, but I was going to mention two things. One is we're still waiting to hear back from the school district in regards to the middle school grounds. That's where the city offered up approximately $75,000 to put sod in at the old middle school grounds on the west side of it, west half of it. And we're hoping that if we can work with the school district on it, we pay for the sod, they pay for the dirt and sprinklers, and we might have a really nice field by next year. So we're hoping that works out. And we need to put down sod in the next 30 days before it gets cold. So all the way through mid-October, it's still pretty decent time to put the sod down. So we'll see where that goes. Also, Lance was going to pass on that in regards to Parade Trails Park, which is another priority of the city councils to get that moving forward. He's doing a lot of legwork right now in regards to finding maybe some potential sponsors or those who would donate towards this project. And we're going to see if we can get this into the budget for next year to do the first phase of it. So we're excited about it because we've talked about this for 25 years, and then we talked about it again for the next 10 years, and then the last 5 years. So now we're hoping to move that one forward. He did mention to me that Western Engineers, they completed the engineering piece of it, and they just had to go back and look at the old plans and update those. And we're sitting in good position now, and we'll have some better numbers presented in not too long for the city council. Last thing I was going to mention was we did have a going away dinner for Don Merrimee, 46-year water department employee, and most of those years he was the director of the water department, water foreman, and I can't remember the billions of gallons, the numbers anymore, but he helped deliver, it was like 46 billion gallons of water to our community on a low estimate over the years. So he's done a great job for us, and we'll miss Don. But he also reminded us he's only a block away, so if we ever need some of his expertise, we can always reach out to Don. That's all I have for the evening.
I don't know if maybe a stickler about it, Monty, but that middle school grounds, did we get something in writing?
Correct, we're gonna do something right if we move
Well, that
forward.
way everybody's protected. We all know everybody's plan is, so.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Mayor and council reports.
I did have something, so, for the golf board, we talked about, the winter's coming and, some business out there. I think sometimes the restaurant out there gets forgotten about, out of sight, out of mind. I know at one point in time when the hospital put up their electric board, we had an option of putting stuff on there.
Yep.
If we could maybe start putting stuff for the golf course on there. When the pizza delivery service comes up, or when food specials or whatever, you know, so maybe we can advertise a little bit on that board, because right now they don't have much going on there, so. If we can get people to go out there and make it a regular place, that'd be good. Keep them busy.
Good idea. Anybody else? Welcome, Chad.
Thank you.
Good to see you up here. I have a full, well, one of these days we'll have a full diet. I did have something, I got an email from a resident on Circle Drive. He says, thank you, Dana. I spent countless hours trying to keep that place clean. We've got that Circle Drive property as best I could, but it really got away from me when I was gone for a month this summer. I know that many of my neighbors complained about the frustration, but I tried to be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Many thanks to you and council. So they're seeing some progress out there, and they're just very thankful that we got that moving. So
I did get an email finally this morning with some people that could probably help us with that.
Oh,
So
good.
I haven't had a chance to respond to them, but it did come in this morning.
And you guys covered, I was gonna say thanks to Larry and Dale for the entertainment district meeting and Miranda for all her hard work. And, it's always nice to see people from, I see somebody from Wiggins out there. It's nice to get to know people from other communities that are close by. And, so it's nice to be able to host a successful event. And, so we will welcome Officer Higgins and adjourn the meeting